All right, we're gonna start with a little intro song. Do 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 do. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Aviva Sings Out. Just totally randomly coming on live here because I got a little message from my friend Steve here, and he's like, "Do you want to know the truth about what's going on in Thailand with cannabis?" And I said, "Yeah, I think we might need to know that." So with no further ado, I just want to introduce you to Steve Sarrett. I hope I said that right.
Yep, close enough.
I would
Not
love
particular.
to introduce yourself for a minute or two so they know who you are.
Yeah, I started out in cannabis when I was 16. That was 1966. So I've been at this for, I don't know, 57 years or so. And I specialized in medical cannabis and hemp. I've never been involved in recreational cannabis, never sold weed, made a lot of medicine. And now we're working on hemp and cannabis and medical cannabis here in Asia right now. My background is writing hemp law. I've written more hemp laws in the United States than anybody else. And now I'm writing hemp law. I'm writing a new hemp law for Nepal, another one for Sri Lanka. We'll be writing a lot of hemp laws here in Asia now.
Wow. We might need your help here in Georgia. Have you ever written a law to just fully legalize it?
Well, yeah, and that's the fight we're in right now, isn't it? Because what you have is something most people don't understand, and that's George Soros is behind rescheduling. It's George Soros's front people who are the weed industry people, and they have been beholden to him since 2000, probably 2009. George Soros bought up Normal, MPP, ASA, and DPA around 2009, 2010, and they're to use them to set up a recreational marijuana industry, and then use that medical marijuana industry to destroy hemp and medical and everything else. And this is just the last stage of it, and that's moving cannabis not descheduling it, but moving it just into another schedule where it's still illegal and where only pharmaceutical drugs are going to appear. So it's absolutely a way to take us back to the 60s. A lot of us worked very, very, very hard to get where we are today, and we are not happy about just moving it to another schedule that just hands all things cannabis back to big pharma.
Yeah, that I definitely see as the biggest issue. I do want to jump into Thailand, but just to wrap this up, this is all part of it. It's like,
yeah, well, and it's also this is my background is writing hemp and cannabis law. So when I came here, it was just odd. The month after I got here in 2018, they started talking about legalizing cannabis, but didn't write a law. But in 2021, during COVID, there was a health minister of health here by the name of Onnuten, and Onnuten was and his party were both pro cannabis, and because he had emergency powers because of COVID, he just decided to remove cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act here, and so they didn't write a law to make it legal. What they did was they removed it from the Controlled Substances Act. In other words, they did what we should be doing in the U.S. right now, which is deschedule it and just to take it out of any narcotics laws. So what he did, because he had the power to do it, was he removed cannabis here from Schedule 5, which is the same thing as Schedule 1 in the U.S. And later, a year or so later, the Parliament read one marijuana bill before the Parliament, never voted on it, and it never appeared again. So there was never a cannabis law to vote on. Okay. And in the meantime, the wonderful people in the government decided, well, we can make a lot of money selling licenses on this. So let's just write some rules and get this thing going.
Gotcha.
So all they did was they wrote rules, sold 18,000 licenses, and opened up cannabis stores everywhere. um, in the meantime, it went from back in 2021 or 2022, I guess is when they really started it. They started importing illegal weed from the U.S., and we would know because some of the packaging was still there. The state required packaging. So at first in 2022, the price of cannabis here was about $40 to $50 a gram because they were having to ship it all in. But they handed out 18,000 licenses, and it took about 3 years before all these Thai farmers knew how to grow good cannabis. If you've grown cannabis, you know that you don't get a good product the first time out, or maybe the third or fourth time out. So, but after 3 years, they knew what they were doing. So by a year ago, now you have everybody, all of these 18,000 growers, all putting their product on the market. So it went from $40 a gram to about $1. Matter of fact, if I buy an ounce or more, I'm getting it about 50 cents a gram for really good flower.
Oh my God.
They got to the point where they couldn't get $500 a pound for it. So most of them have quit growing, or a lot of them have gone broke. But what happened was, this was all rolling along fairly well until a couple of things happened. Once the bottom fell out of the market, because all of a sudden there were 18,000 people selling pot, right? And growing it, and growing good pot. And so then we have a new prime minister. It used to be that we had a military government here from a coup going back to 2014 or 2010. And this new prime minister, a female prime minister, is very, very unpopular with the people here. She's a member of the World Economic Forum, and the World Economic Forum, just like George Soros and Big Pharma, they're all together, want to get rid of all marijuana. They want to get rid of hemp, and they want to get rid of all cannabis.
Why?
What?
Why?
Well, you want to know why Big Pharma doesn't want cannabis? Because they already know that they can't make medicine out of it. So there are only literally two. You could stretch it and say three, because one's a knockoff of the other. But there's only three pharmaceutical cannabis products.
So they don't support medical cannabis?
No, absolutely not, because it's competition to them. In other words, how much would it cost you to buy some good CBD from distillate?
I have no idea.
Maybe $20 for a little bottle, right?
I don't know.
Okay, Epidiolex is the only
Right.
real pharmaceutical drug made from CBD. And if your child has epilepsy, and you want to give them that drug, you will have to pay out of your pocket for it, because it's not covered by any insurance, and it's $13,000. Excuse me, $35,500 a year for prescription.
That is insane.
Oh no, but that's not the insane part. The insane part is when they did the study on these children. They did the study on children because this is a drug to be treating childhood epilepsy. 16% of the children either ended up suffering from severe liver damage or liver failure, which kills you.
Oh.
And they still approved the product. It's still on the market.
It makes cannabis look bad.
But what they did was they knew this was GW Pharmaceutical, and GW Pharmaceutical didn't just do a trial on CBD isolate, which is what they would need to do if they were going to get a patent on it. They also did a test using natural CBD and CBDA. They actually found that CBDA actually worked better, but you can't isolate it. Okay. It will grow
the plant and have it right there.
Well, and you can take it right out of the plant and juice it, then it works. But what they did was because they were getting such poor results from their testing, the test that they submitted to the FDA was the one they did with real live cannabis. Oh, but that's not the one they submitted to FDA. So their competitor, who makes a product that is like Marinol, it's for appetite for people who are going through chemotherapy.
Right, which is also a synthetic form of cannabis.
Yes. It's also a synthetic form. They turned them in. They knew what they did, and they turned them in. And these guys actually lost their patents. And the patents in the pharmaceutical industry, these are the holy grail. This is what you want. If you have a patent on it, no one else can be making it, and that's where you really make a lot of money. So Epidiolex lost their patent. They know that cannabinoids and
you can't get Epidiolex anymore.
Oh, I'm sure you can get it if you wanted to. They sold the company. I don't know anybody who ever took it. Who's going to pay $35,000 a year for that out of their pocket?
I hope they took it off the.
Well, not only that, but we found out it didn't work.
But does that mean they had to take it off the shelf, though?
No. It didn't work when 16% of the kids suffered from liver damage or liver failure. That's when it really should have been pulled off the shelf.
Well, yeah.
It never should have gone on the shelf.
But it's still on the shelf.
I assume it's still on the shelf. They don't advertise. I never hear anything about it. So, but anyway, so let's go back to this. The prime minister wanted to get rid of cannabis here in Thailand, which was really unpopular, but it came from the WEF and everybody knew it. So a month ago, around 30,000 Thai people went to Bangkok and demonstrated, and they wanted to get rid of this prime minister. In the meantime, did you hear that there was a war between Cambodia and Thailand?
No.
Yeah, because she started a war between Thailand and Cambodia.
Horrible.
Because the Constitutional Court had are trying to get rid of her as the prime minister. Okay. And today is the last day that she has before she has to submit her reason why they shouldn't remove her. But what she did in the meantime is she started a fake war. and then argued that they shouldn't remove her because they need a prime minister during the time of war. Except the videotape of her talking to her arch enemy, Hun Sen, the dictator of Cambodia, who their family is very close friends with. They heard that conversation between them, and they knew that this was collusion between the prime minister of Thailand colluding with the dictator of Cambodia next door. And the people were very, very angry with that, and they went out in the streets. So it was what they decided to do. So they wrote all these rules, and they passed out 18,000 licenses. And when they decided they wanted to get rid of it, again, they never had a bill to go with it. They never had a law to tag along with that. And so what they did was they just wrote new rules that were going to get rid of it, or new rules that were going to regulate it. It was going to take that 18,000 licenses, and it was going to whittle it down to 2,000 licenses, which of course are all the rich people here, right? And people got really, really angry. Not only were they losing millions and millions of dollars because they issued 18,000 licenses to people to grow, but now they were going to get rid of 16,000 of the 18,000 licensees.
Which is still different than what they said on the news. I mean, the impression was they were going to take it away altogether.
Well, that's what they want to do. Okay. The problem is if I'm the government and I give you a license to grow cannabis and you pay for that license and you do everything right, the law says I can't come back and take that license away. Oh, but there is no law. So they wrote one set of rules that had no background in a law. Okay. And then they decided to change those rules to something even more heinous where they can fine you $30,000. Okay. But here's the problem.
But no jail.
Well, I don't know. There may be jail too. We don't know because it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. They haven't even started enforcing it because you know what? If they limit it to those 2,000 people that they said they were going to limit it to, those people all have the money to sue them. And just like in the U.S., the law here is just like in the U.S., you have to have a law, and the law has to be codified by the parliament or by Congress, or there is no legalization, there is no law, right?
So how long do you think it would take them to make a law?
They aren't even talking about doing that. That's the problem. They just think they're going to close it down. But you know, when they go out there and they close down your business and you lose $20 million and you're a billionaire, what are you going to do? You're going to sue them. And they don't have they do not have a law to back up what they just did to you. Whoops. And that's 18,000 of them. There's also 300,000 employees of those 18,000 people.
And of those 18,000, are they international?
No, they're almost all Thai.
Okay.
Yeah, they're almost all Thai. I mean, there are a couple of Farang, which is white people. There's a friend of mine who's been here for like 20 years, and he's one of the top growers here. But anyway, they can't really throw these people in jail without a law.
Now, okay, good. Now, 18,000 growers or just anything? Growers.
18,000 licenses. There were licenses for hemp. There were licenses for opening stores, and you could have multiple licenses. You could pay for multiple licenses.
Steve, if you don't mind, that's interesting. If we can backtrack.
Yeah.
Before this happened, which was last year, right? When they wrote the rules that you could have 18,000.
2022, I believe.
Okay.
2022, 2023.
Oh, wow. So it's been 3 years now.
Yeah.
Now, before that, you said hemp was legal there, right? For what?
Well, no, it was legal. It was definitely legal for all of the hill people, all the indigenous people, but they could only grow hemp, and they couldn't grow it to flower. They could only grow it for fiber. Okay. And that's why they weren't really experts in growing marijuana, because they never flowered the plant. And it's totally different if you're flowering the plant.
And I think the last time we spoke, which was like probably 3 years before that, you said you were maybe getting into hemp sprouts in Thailand.
Yeah, and we still want to do hemp sprouts. In fact, we're still planning on doing hemp sprouts. But again, right now we don't know what is legal and what is not legal. What the government has really only two choices right now, as far as I can tell. One, they can go back and they can pass a hemp and cannabis law and make all of this stuff legal. Get the parliament to do it, write new rules, pass out licenses, and start all over. Or what they can do is they can go back and put it back, get the parliament to put it back in Schedule 1, or Schedule 3 rather, which is like Schedule 1, and make it totally illegal again. And nobody wants to do that. They will, because then what's going to happen is not only are those 18,000 people that paid for licenses going to be in the streets of Bangkok, but so are the 300,000 employees that are going to be out of work.
Wow.
Also. So the government, the military is really, really, really unhappy with what's happening with the WEF. Okay, with turning over sovereignty of Thailand to the WEF does not go over well with either the government or with the Thai people. And today is the day they 30,000 of them on the street last time when they were trying to get her out. And today is the day they're going to decide whether or not she's going to get to stay in or whether or not she's going to go. And if she doesn't go, there's going to be real trouble here. So
really
marijuana could be responsible for a coup.
So the people that want her out are all pro cannabis, you're saying?
Well, the people who want her out are certainly anti-WEF. They are all for sovereignty. This is the only country in Asia that just was never colonized by the Dutch or the French or the British.
I did not realize that.
They've been around for 1,600 years, so that's a really important thing to the Thai people. And the king controls the military, not the government. So what happened was back before I got here, when I first moved here, it was a military government, but we got quote unquote legalized cannabis during a military government. So, and not only that, but you know what? I was really rather surprised because usually a military government is over regulates everything. And during COVID, they were actually really not so bad. They were a lot better than the US.
Wow.
Yeah. So I never thought we'd see the day when everybody would go, yeah, military could be probably pretty good, be a better situation than what we're in right now. And it would be, because what they've been trying to do since she got in office is they've been trying to do all the WEF things. They're getting rid of money. They want a cashless society. They want cameras everywhere. And people here aren't going to put up with that.
Good.
So right now, there's no way in the world that they're going to be that I believe after 7 years of experience here, there's no way in the world they're going to be able to make it illegal again. There's no way in the world they're going to put the genie back in the bottle. And they can't keep enforcing rules that don't have a law, because what's going to happen as soon as they do that, and they do it to me, and I have a license and I'm a billionaire, I'm going to sue their asses. And you know what? I'm going to win because they don't have law on their side.
So do you think they can still reduce the number of licenses?
I think if they try to do that, they're going to get sued. It's either going to be a store owner, a licenser that grow. There are people here. I know one guy who's growing 150 acres under flower outdoors. These are farms of cannabis. These are not little mom and pop operations. These are huge operations.
So if you were a legislator, how would you deal with the issue that is supposedly the issue that everywhere you go, it smells like weed in Thailand now?
Well, first, what you need to do is you need to write a law. Okay. And in that law, you can actually tell people what they can and cannot do. Okay. Until then, I mean, theoretically, I would never do it, and I haven't done it here. Theoretically, I could go out and plant a whole field of marijuana right now, and there is nothing in the law that says I can't do that.
Right. That's what people are saying. They're like, it was just like a free for all instead of regulated.
Well, no, it's very, very regulated for those 18,000 people who are maybe getting regulated out of business.
Yeah.
But there's no law. So if they go to court, guess who wins if there's no law? Now, these are all very wealthy people, and I know some of them have lost $20-30 million already, and they're going to go back and sue the government for that money, aren't they? You would, right?
I don't even know what suing the government means, as far as like there's individual people who work in different offices, and you don't have to choose like who exactly.
Well, and fortunately, I don't have to worry about that. The billionaires will know exactly, because they have all kinds. The billionaire class here has all kinds of friends in the parliament. They're the ones that put those people in.
Yeah.
So they will win in court. So the question is, are we going to have a coup this week?
Or today?
Or today? It wouldn't be today. Probably be tomorrow, because they tend to do coups on the weekend.
And so you are, it's Friday there right now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's about to be Saturday over here. I wasn't sure the timing was ahead or behind me.
We are ahead of you. I'm ahead of you. What
No,
time
I'm
is it
ahead of
there?
you. If it's Friday there. Oh, wait. No, that's right. It's Thursday. Sorry.
Okay. You were getting me confused there for a minute. But it's gonna get real interesting because something has to happen very, very quickly, probably within the next week. That's why I kind of wanted to tell you the story, because then you can watch it knowing what the real background of this thing is.
And that's so important, more than people realize. People undervalue the truth that's being shown on the news, but they
God,
don't.
don't we know?
When
Amazing, isn't it?
we get lied to, it hurts our whole being, and that's, people don't realize how much they're getting hurt.
Yeah, well, and that's why I kind of wanted everybody to know what's really going on, because you know what? I've talked to growers here, and growers here don't understand that these people really had to have a law. Some of them do, but if you would invest, if you borrowed money from your family and to set up a small grow because you borrowed the money, and now they decide 2 years later that now you haven't done anything wrong, but you're done.
That's
We're not going
that's
to
what
let you do that anymore.
Georgia, Steve. So many people went out of business. I mean,
Yeah. Sound familiar? It's the same
well,
people doing it. It's George Soros and the same people doing it.
but can they really get away with it in Georgia? Because they wrote it in the law.
Well, look, I don't focus as much on state law, even though I've been passing state laws. I
Oh,
focus on federal, because you're going to
right.
have to remove it from any schedule. Descheduling is the only way to solve this problem. Then you can write any kind of laws you want. It's not like open season. You can write any kind of laws you want, but it takes the criminality out of it. And then you can write other laws that if you want something to be criminal, you can. But right now, putting it into Schedule 3 just hands it back to big pharma. And I've been doing this since 1966, and we've made a lot of progress. We've got a lot of medical marijuana states. We've got a lot of people producing CBD. It could be a whole lot better. You could be doing a lot more research on cannabinoid medicines, real cannabinoid medicines, not ones made from isolates, if it was legal. And that's what we really need to do. And what's stopping us? Big pharma. If you can sell a product at $20 that they want to sell for $3,000, they can't compete, right? Not only that, yours works and theirs doesn't. They got a problem. That's why they are not making more cannabis products. Did you know that? That's why pharmaceutical companies are not making cannabis products, because they know they can't make them work with isolates.
Wow.
So they need to get rid of the people who do make them from distillates and natural plant material.
Because they don't want anyone to be better.
They can't afford the competition.
Oh.
Yeah. Not only that, but if they make it legal, think of how cheap cannabinoid medicines will be.
Huh.
It wouldn't be $20 for a bottle of CBD. It'd be $5.
Or just make your own.
Or just make your better yet, if you want CBD, you really want CBDA. If you talk to Dr. William Courtney, who was the first guy who ever talked about this, about juicing, and juicing CBDA and THCA are both more effective medically than CBD or THC.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we could be making drugs. We could be making cancer drugs from those. Have you seen Big Pharma produce any cannabinoid cancer treatments? No, because it doesn't work. That's why they have to be rid of us. That's why they can't have it descheduled. I saved my own life making cannabis. Okay. Why shouldn't you be able to do that? Why shouldn't everybody be able to do that? If you want to make a law against don't sell it to kids, I don't care. All right. But those kids have to be able to have it as medicine. That's the problem. So
Right.
from 1937, when they knew CBD worked for curing epilepsy, to now 88 years, children with epilepsy have been without a treatment for their childhood epilepsy for 88 years.
That's criminal.
It's evil. It goes beyond criminal. It's just plain evil. We have cancer. We know that we can cure several different kinds of cancer with cannabis, but you can't do it if you use isolates. So big pharma will never be making cannabinoid medicines to cure cancer. That's why they can't have you doing it in your kitchen.
Because they can't patent it.
They can't patent it, and they can't compete with it. No one would buy isolates if they could get distillate. Here in Thailand right now, I found one company that actually sells some distillate. And essentially, I don't want any. I want CBD, but I won't take isolate.
Yeah.
Remember, 16% of those children suffered from liver failure or liver damage because their livers could not handle all the isolate.
Yeah, it reminds me of so many things in nature. When you extract it from the whole plant, it can become not good for you because it needs the whole plant to function and break down in a chemical way. Otherwise, it steals things from the body to break it down and to help.
Yeah. I mean, when they limit CBD products to 0.3% or 0.2% THC, they're making them ineffective. Put 1% THC in there, 1%. Okay. That makes the CBD kick off and makes it very, very, very effective. Can you imagine trying to get stoned on 1% THC? You would never buy 1% THC, would you? You can't sell 1% THC to anybody. It's worthless. Unless you're a pharmaceutical company.
Well, they don't believe that in Georgia.
Yeah, and you know what? Part of this,
our medical cannabis program is like, I don't know, like 3% THC or something.
Yeah, and exactly how do you cure cancer that way? I've cured my cancer, and I've cured other people's cancer, but you're using massive amounts of THC. If you're curing prostate cancer, I've cured somebody with prostate cancer here, but it requires both oral THC and it requires suppositories, because you need that much THC, and you don't want the patient getting so stoned every day that they can't walk. And if you give them suppositories, you're putting the medication 70% closer to where it's needed. Okay. So you both take oral capsules and you take suppositories. Nobody here's making suppositories, and medical cannabis supposedly has been legal for the last 3 years.
Wow.
So we have a lot of education to be doing, and moving it to Schedule 3 will set us back to where we were in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Well, because where are you going to buy? Where's your mother going to buy? Where's your mother going to buy medical cannabis if it's Schedule 3? You're not going to buy it from pharmaceutical company. You're going to go back to the black market, aren't you? That's where Schedule 3 takes us.
Okay, so we're talking about two different kinds of medical cannabis. We're talking about pharmaceutical cannabis and the medical cannabis dispensaries. So are you saying even just the medical cannabis dispensaries, who you said you think are generally the good guys because Big Pharma doesn't want them, but are you saying that they don't even sell suppositories?
Here, no one sells them. Here, no one's selling CBD distillate. They're selling all isolate because isolate is easy to work with. It's easy to measure because it only has one thing in it.
So lonely, just isolated.
Yeah, and it's really lonely because it doesn't work. So nobody likes it either.
Okay, I have two questions in my head. First, I'm going to talk about the whole plant thing. The bioflavonoids. I feel like you were telling me something about they did a study on hemp sprouts having like super antioxidants, or.
And we're going to be doing the advantage to me being here is, and one of the disadvantages that we've worked under since I've been doing this in '66 is we don't have the money to do the scientific studies that big pharma can do.
Right.
Right? If you want to do a university study at Harvard or Stanford or any of these universities, you're talking about multi-millions of dollars to do them. But here, there's something different. Here, college is very inexpensive. Here, it costs about $500 a year to go study to be a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah. So we could be doing all kinds of research here on medical cannabis products. Because the cost of the cannabis itself is next to nothing, which is where it should be, right? It should be. How much should cannabis actually cost?
Okay, so let's see how we get through like the next week, and let's seriously get some funding to all come over there and study cannabis while you can grow freely.
Yeah. Well, what I really need to do is I need to pass a law here, but nobody's really seems to be interested in passing a law, but they're going to get more interested in the next few days. I have a feeling it's going to be, look, if there's a coup, you got to call me back and we'll talk about that too. Because that should be interesting.
Just check your email because I don't get on Facebook that much, so I'm going to be emailing you.
I check my email every day, and in fact, I'll let you know whether or not we have a prime minister or not at the end of today.
Yes, via email. I might still be sleeping over here. I should be in bed already, but my other question is, you mentioned something earlier about people who just lobby for recreational are in the way somehow.
Well, who created the recreational pot industry? Come on, you should know that.
Who created the recreational pot industry?
Yeah, it was created.
Oh.
It's first created in 2012.
Well, I was thinking that just today I was thinking about how, tobacco is such a healing remedy. And so alcohol can be healing too. So like they've created these recreational industries to make tax money pretty much.
Okay.
Now,
I answered the question, who created recreational weed? Commercial, sell it in stores, weed.
I think whoever created taxes.
It was George Soros. George Soros passed two initiatives in 2012. I-502 in Washington, and I ran the No on 502 committee there. And they passed it also the same year in Colorado, and then they passed it the next year in Oregon. And those were the beginning of the recreational cannabis industry. Okay. And they were funded by Soros. By the way, I've got a question for you. Do you know how much money these big companies like Tilray and Canopy and Aurora are making on a yearly basis? Because we hear all these figures. Like I just saw one from, I don't know, Normal yesterday said, yeah, it's an $84 billion a year business. How much money do you think those companies are making?
Not much.
Well, okay. Tilray's best year. Tilray's been in business 12 years.
What business? It's medical cannabis or recreational?
No, it's all recreational. I'm only talking about recreational, no medical at all. So Tilray's one of the big first ones. They went public. They've got they're on the stock exchange, all of that. In 12 years of being in business, their best year, where they made the most money, they lost $12 million. That was their best year. Canopy Growth. Familiar with Canopy Growth? Canopy Growth is even bigger, and they've lost between 12 and 15 billion with a B dollars. Aurora, Same thing. How is it that all these companies, if you had a company on the New York Stock Exchange and your stock went like that and you lost $500 million that year, what's going to happen? You're going to go broke, right? How did these companies stay in business? I figured it out. This is really ugly. I'm sorry to have to tell you this. They were getting the money through George Soros. You know where George Soros was getting it from? USAID. Yes, that's been keeping these broke businesses in line. And that's why they support whatever George Soros wants to do with cannabis. And George Soros's largest holding is Bayer Pharmaceutical. Do you think he wants medical marijuana? No. So he funded this whole scam. What he did was he needed front people. He needed people to go out and attack medical marijuana. Pharmaceutical industry can't have something called medical cannabis, can they? So they started getting really nervous about that back in the early 2000s. And in 2009 was when Soros came up with this plan. So he invented that and he funded that. And he funded it with your tax money through USAID. But now they don't get that money anymore. So now these guys are all freaking out because it's not going to move to Schedule 3. Doesn't make any difference. They're not going to be in Schedule 3 either. There's nothing in Schedule 3 that allows you to sell weed. So they were doing this on behalf of their benefactor, George Soros. They weren't doing it to make money. This is the recreational marijuana business is kind of like, I lose money on every sale, but I make it up in volume. All the biggest companies are also the brokest companies. They all work for George Soros. They're going to do what George Soros tells them. So then he used them first to get rid of medical cannabis. And then they went after the hemp CBD people. And now they're going after all of the hemp. You know why? Because you can't have cannabis. Because people make good things out of it. People make food out of it. They make medicine out of it. You can't have that going on if you're big pharma. You have to have people sick, not healthy. And that's not pharma's job.
So that one patent on CBD that says it's a super antioxidant, is that for CBD isolate? And is that what they use to make Epidiolex?
I don't know because I haven't seen it. I could read if I could read it. I could. If you find it, but
yeah, it's on shirts and stuff like 99305, like patent number. I don't know.
Are you talking about the one that cures which one was it? One of the cancers. Are you talking about a cancer drug, or are you talking about something else?
No, CBD. Because you were saying
CBD
patent cannabis, but there's a CBD patent.
Well, no, they did what they did was they got GW Pharmaceutical got a patent on their CBD product, but the study they submitted wasn't using the CBD. It wasn't using the isolated version. It was using the natural version, and they got caught at it because they got outed.
And the reason why you can't patent that is because you can never
make it out of natural materials. And again, this is what they started back in 1937 is to make sure that there are no plant-based medicines.
Well, it seems like the indigenous ways are protected, though, and that's the way.
Well, I don't think anybody's protected at this point.
Oh no, because they can only do the industrial. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, and really, since there's nothing about natural medicine in Schedule 3, there will be no natural medicine. And so if pharmaceutical companies aren't going to be making cannabinoid medicine, what Schedule 3 does is it eliminates cannabis.
But aren't there things on Schedule 1 that are also prescribed?
No. Nothing can be prescribed under Schedule 1.
Isn't meth Schedule 1? And
No,
don't they make Adderall with? Oh, that's not.
no.
So what's
There are some things like cocaine that actually have a medical use. It's
yeah.
used in nasal surgery. Um, but all of the things, one of the test questions in Schedule 1 is, does it have any recognized medical use in the United States? And that's in Schedule 1. And so marijuana certainly doesn't belong there. So nothing in Schedule 1 can be sold. And nothing natural can be sold in Schedule 3 because that's all pharmaceutical.
That's so weird. So
So where will people go to get their medicine? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's even asking that question. Where under Schedule 3 do I go to get my medication?
Right. Okay. What's the answer?
Nowhere. Black market again. Right. We go right back to 1966 where I started.
Well,
that's how evil this is, and they're telling you NORML and Drug Policy Alliance I've been funded by George Soros since 2010. I remember the day they were funded because one of them was supposed to do an interview with me on that day.
It was 2012.
That was 2012. No, excuse me. That was 2010.
Is when he started funding them.
Yes. There was no recreational marijuana before George Soros. He funded that industry and he built that industry to destroy all the rest of them. And he has succeeded in that. The hemp industry went from 515,000 acres of hemp in 2018 to less than 2,000 in 2023. I don't know where it is now because now the USDA is lying about the numbers. But that would be considered a catastrophic crop loss in any country in the world to go from 515,000 acres to 2,000 in 4 years. And that was all because of the crop burning, illegal crop burning.
So confusing. Okay, so
yeah, it should be me. I have to deal with all of this stuff on a legal basis.
What about gasoline? What about fuel?
What about it?
Why aren't people making it?
Why aren't people growing hemp? Because they're making it as absolutely impossible as they can for people to grow hemp. You've seen it in the United States, haven't you? We've seen it go like this. That's not because it's doing well. It's because if you burn a farmer's crop, guess what? They don't grow that crop anymore, do they? Not only that, if your next door neighbor's farm, if their crop is burned, you're not going to grow that crop again, are you? That gets around really quick. And in 4 years, it got around to everybody, and everybody kind of quit growing. They're still burning crops illegally. Do you know what? You know who started that? USDA. USDA colluded with state departments of ag, which are their underlings, and told them to enforce total THC. So they were burning crops based on total THC when that wasn't the law. Remember, it's got to be in the law. It wasn't in the law. And they burned crops. They burned multi-millions of dollars worth of crops, and I can prove it. And I can prove that it was federal RICO, this collusion between the USDA and the state departments of agriculture. And I'm investigating it. I have all the proof now. And then I'll go to the Department of Justice. And then I'm going to go to Netflix because people should know what has happened to the hemp industry here. It's a lot of greedy people.
In Georgia, they raided a bunch of dispensaries, and if they found THCA flower, which was basically anyway, they would put it in a bucket of water with soap.
Well, again, none of this changes. First of all, moving into Schedule 3, would you agree, is not going to change that? It's only going to make that worse, right? Because now what they shoved in the bucket was a Schedule 3 drug, and they're entitled to do that.
Well, it would never be a Schedule 3 drug because it's natural. So maybe if we have a definition that it can't possibly
All
be
no, no. It's just like it was with Schedule 3. All things cannabis were Schedule 1. Now all things cannabis will be Schedule 3. What's the difference? It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same to the cannabis industry.
In order to be Schedule 3,
there's not going to be nothing that says there are no scheduled drugs that are available to the public. There's not going to be any recreational cannabis under Schedule 3.
So what's the other thing they're saying it's going to go to? Do they think it might go to a different number besides 3 and besides nothing?
I think what Trump is looking at right now, and I am getting people to send emails to the White House, and he is getting them, and he's thanking people.
Can you put that link in the comments that you posted? Can you put that link in the comments on just writing to him at the White House?
Oh yeah. I definitely will. And I will keep you up. I'm doing memes on this too, so I'll keep you up with.
I mean, right now in the live comments, so people can.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find that.
Oh wait, I think it's right here. No, that's not it.
I don't want to do it on the phone. I will send it to you. But if you just look up contact the White House, if you just do a search for contact the White House, that comes up right away. So it's a real easy thing to do.
Say contact the White House. I'm still.
But from what I understand, Trump is fighting Schedule 3. From what I understand, he would like to see it descheduled. He's getting a lot of pushback on that, but I think that's the way he's going to go. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What?
I put it in the comments. I found it.
Oh, good. Yeah, and just tell people that you want descheduling. If it's not going to be, if they're not going to legalize it now and then move it to another schedule, when do we ever get it legal? Really?
So someone said that they might create a Schedule 6 for hemp.
No, it was Schedule 4, and that was ASA. ASA was bought off by George Soros in 2010 as well. They have been working again. Yes, I ran ASA in Washington. I ran that chapter. I know exactly how crooked those people are.
Can you say
exactly where they're taking money?
Or
what?
Can you tell the good folks watching what ASA is?
Americans for Safe Access. Supposedly they were the medical marijuana saviors, except they weren't. They were working for the other side all the time also. And I know that because when I-502, I lost on 502. 502 was passed. Soros' bill was passed, which ruined medical cannabis in the state of Washington, closed down 1,500 dispensaries in one day, which is exactly what I told them it would do. It put a per se DUID law into effect. So if you got caught with any THC, just about any THC in your system, now you got a DUI a drug DUI on your record, which means you can't get a job anywhere. Yeah. This is so ASA after I lost, the Washington state legislature put out a bill and they were going to remove medical after they said they weren't going to do that, of course. And you know who lobbied for that bill? ASA. 2 years in a row. I beat them the first year. 2 years in a row. They lobbied to kill medical marijuana. ASA did, and I can prove that to you or anybody else. The hemp people have been selling out. Do you know that most of the hemp organizations aren't run by hemp people? They're really, if you look at their board of directors, they're all recreational marijuana people. Why is that? Because they're funded by George Soros. It's that simple. It really is that simple.
That's a huge generalization. I mean, some of them.
Really, it's a huge realization that people just don't want to accept, but I've been telling them since 2010. I have proof of all of it. I can prove every bit of it.
And what kind of proof?
I will give you all the proof, but I think we may do a Netflix thing. And if we do a Netflix thing, it will expose all of this. Do you know that there was one farm that they burned in 2019 in California, in Bakersfield? It was 500 acres, and it was a research project, and they just won after 6 years in court. So it was they sued the state for sued the county for $1 billion for cutting down legal marijuana. And I think that also came from the USDA. None of the farmers that had the crops burned were ever made whole. No one wanted to put up the money. I found a good attorney that would have sued every one of those states that imposed a total THC limit and burn crops, legal crops. If you burn legal crops, any kind of legal crop in the United States, there's something called the Timber Trespass Act. The Timber Trespass Act means if you burn a legal crop in the United States, if you burn my legal crop in the United States, you owe me treble damages. So all those farmers can still go back and get paid for their farms being burned now that we know that it was RICO. It was federal RICO. This was the government committing several different federal crimes, both the states and the federal government colluding together to create federal crimes, to stop marijuana, to stop hemp. It just goes on and on and on. They never give up. These are the most evil people I've ever met in my life. And this is why I keep doing this, because I keep thinking,
Here's my
sooner or
question.
later, they got to lose.
If recreational is a scam, then what do you call just freeing cannabis? What do you call it when it's just free? Like not medical, not hemp. Like I just want to call it one thing. I just want it to be a whole plant, full plant, everything.
We could just call it cannabis again.
That would be nice.
For the last 10,000 years, it was cannabis until they made up marijuana, right? In 1937.
Yeah. Why are we separating it into 3 different things or 4 different things?
Well, and hemp was a false name too. They made up hemp.
Well, hemp is just what they called any like soy flag.
No. Hemp is the initials of 4 different people in the British Empire. That's where the word HEMP came from.
Empire.
It wasn't there. They never called it hemp in 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago or 200 years ago. Yeah. Education today, huh?
Please,
yeah.
feel like this video
There's a lot of evil going on.
So suppressed right now, but I'm going to post it on the hemp channel also.
Yeah, but it should depress people, but it should make them angry. It should make them want to do the right thing.
No, I said the video is being suppressed, but yes.
Oh yeah. Don't get depressed. Get even.
Yeah. Well, the truth is healing. It does energize you.
Yeah.
Hear the truth. And then, so people should be aware that if they hear a lie, it's going to take their energy away from them. It's parasitic. Like when someone lies to you, it's not just like betrayal. It's like literally they're taking your energy.
Okay. So let me tell you one more thing about the 502 thing, because this is where it started.
Tell me whatever you want. I mean, if people want to watch for 2 hours, then they want to watch for 2 hours.
During 502, they literally went out and bribed because the dispensary owners were not much better than the recreational people. They were just basically, most of them, just selling pot. Let's be real. They weren't too interested about the patients. So when recreational came along, and I told them, if recreational gets in, they have to get rid of medical, because medical has no taxes. Recreational's got 45%. So you're not going to stay alive. And Soros and the boys all told them, if you just support legalization, just support the bill, we'll make sure you get recreational licenses. So they all sold out.
Yeah.
So then they didn't get the licenses. Did you know they're still suing for those licenses in Washington State?
Even
I've
though
got a friend who works on the case.
it was like a bribe, but they're like, I deserve
And it
it.
was a bribe. And so you know what they did? You know what they did with then they started doing the same thing with the marijuana people and going after the hemp people. He just used these groups and lied to all of them. Half of the I think it's about 50-50 between in the recreational industry between the people that have been with Soros since the very beginning and been getting money and the people who haven't, and the people who have been with him since the beginning understand that they're employees and they're going to do what he says, and the other ones don't know about that, and they don't know that this is all going to end for them. If it goes to Schedule 3, they're supporting their own demise, just like the dispensary owners did in Washington. All he did was he used their greed to turn them into, like turning them into snitches, right? Turning them into going over to the other side.
I've seen people be so greedy here. I'm like, I do all this activism.
It's the biggest problem with cannabis and hemp, and that's why it's such a weird
time. And you would think like they would donate $10 to me or something for all the videos I do.
In 2019, I didn't want. In 2019, I really didn't want to do this, but I hopped on an airplane around Christmas time and I flew back to the U.S. when they were burning crops, and they were having a big cannabis hemp thing in Vegas, and I had a good friend in Los Angeles that I wanted to see because I wasn't planning on going back again, and I went to one of the hemp burnings in Nevada, and I started filing public records requests, and that's when I found the emails between USDA and the Departments of Ag, and them telling them what to do to break the law, and don't worry about it, we'll cover your ass.
You think that happened in Georgia? Because they seem like a little bit shaky.
Of course.
Like there's.
If it happens one place, it happens another place. Trust me.
Do you think that they broke the law? And so
several federal laws.
Well, because do you know that there's a lawsuit going on? Someone's suing the Department of Ag here.
Oh no, but I wish they would get a hold of me.
Yes. Well, you guys, if you're watching, please get a hold of Steve. Like, is your email the best or?
Yeah, my email is real simple. It's just the two words, but written as one, hempcommission@gmail.com. HEMP commission.
So you think federal laws, several federal laws were broken here in Georgia?
Okay, so what happened was when they colluded to do something illegal between the USDA and the Nevada Department of Agriculture. As soon as they agreed to do that, that's federal RICO. And by the way, federal RICO has no statute of limitations. Okay. Then I went and I asked for all of the burn notices, all the communications between any crop that was burned that year, all of that stuff. I have all of it. Do you know how many of those crops were over 0.3% THC?
None.
None. Do you know what? Something that's even more interesting. 16% of them tested no THC found, and they burned the crops.
Because it looks like marijuana.
So I went because I was in Vegas for the convention. I was there for the burning, and I was there to go after the records from the State Department of Ag. And I went and I talked to big people in the hemp industry. And I said, here is the evidence. I showed them the documents I had. This is absolute positive proof of federal criminal behavior. Not only that, but they were altering COAs. They're altering COAs. Oh. Okay, so let me explain to you what altering a COA is. A COA is a legal document that can be used in a criminal case against you if you go over 0.3%. So if you have altered evidence in a criminal trial, That's federal. That's federal felony. So they have multiple felonies that they are guilty of, and we're going to bring this up because somebody has to know why hemp is dying in the U.S. That, and you've got some greedy people there because you know what? I'm for all forms of hemp, right? I don't have a favorite. There are things that I personally want more than other things, like hemp food, more than I want fiber. But I love hemp clothes. I'm involved in a business with somebody who does hemp stuff
I love
in Nepal. Um, but when you start going after the CBD people because you're a fiber person and you don't need those people and they cause you a lot of trouble because they're testing my crop when all they have to do is test your crop for high THC. I don't think you should be testing any crop. Is there any other crop in the world that they test for anything while it's still in the field?
I mean, I think it'd be a good idea to test chickpeas for lead because they phytoremediate
after they're grown. After they're grown.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to test them in the field. So here's something you probably didn't know. So did you know that when your crop is in the field, your THCA is very high and there's almost no THC, right? Well, that changes very, very much at the very end.
Right.
Okay. So it depends on which day they test it, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, whether or not you're federally legal of a crime. You're federally violating the law. This is how stupid this is. Not only that, they should be testing the whole plant. They should be testing the whole plant, grind it all up, test the whole plant, and then you use those numbers. But those numbers are what you call in the law arbitrary and capricious. Do you know where 0.3% came from?
Yeah, the farmer in Canada who was able to get it.
These are the researcher. Yes. Yeah. And he sent them letters saying you can't do that. This had nothing to do with intoxication. We literally made up 0.3% just as an arbitrary number to separate two things. And you're saying that you're using it as a level of intoxication, and they still left it that way to this day. Do you know that they're trying to move it from 0.3% right now?
Well, I mean, I know that they were trying to raise it to 1% a couple of years ago.
No. The FDA is trying to change it now on what's legal for food.
So what are they trying to make it?
0.0002. 2 parts per million. 3,000 times less than it is at 0.3%. So it will make all hemp illegal too. So
how do we stop that?
I'm glad you asked. You deschedule it. Then I'd be happy to write you the laws to go with it. But you have to deschedule it. Nothing else can be done to solve this situation. It's going to continue this way forever. And you know what? Big Pharma would be happy to have it continue this way forever without us having medicine, without us having hemp food or anything else. They're perfectly happy with that idea. And they, in fact, have spent millions. Unfortunately, a lot of those millions came from USAID, and some of those people are going to be going to jail. Hopefully, George Soros.
Maybe that's where our hemp license fees are going, because I didn't get a straight answer when I talked to the department. I was like, well, it's great that you all
file a public records request. Then they have to file with a.
I go, it was great that, you have all these people with licenses. You guys made a lot of money for the department. And they go, oh, we don't get that money. Like,
Well, the law says where the money, the law always says where any funds go to. So
I don't think it said it.
Well, you know what? If you learn how to file public records requests, you will learn so much about your government that you never thought existed and that you didn't think you could get information on. I will teach you that if you like to. It's the most fun thing you'll ever learn in your life. So let me tell you a quick story about what happened in Vegas. So one night I get a phone call. It's like midnight. I'm not a late night person. Okay. I get up right now at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning so I can be communicating with the U.S. I get a call, and it's a video call. And so I'm going, I don't know who this woman is. I got a woman, and she's got a big glass of red wine in her hand. It's the head of the hemp department at the Nevada Department of Agriculture, and she's drunk, and she knows why I've got those documents. She knows that I know that they committed a federal crime, and she's drunk, and she's sobbing to me about it. Oh my God, I wish I'd had that on tape. It was the most incredible thing I ever saw. But I went to all of these people that are wealthy guys in the hemp industry, and it was Martin Smith and I found an attorney, and we interviewed the attorney, and we laid out our whole case to him on these crop burnings. And what we were trying to do is put together a class action lawsuit with all of these farmers that had been burnt. And if each of them had put up $50, we would have had enough money to sue. And no one, not one person, put up $50, including the people who had the crops burned, who could have made triple the damages on that thing.
Well, they raised $10,000 in Georgia to sue just recently.
Well, I'm just telling you, the hemp people just sat on their hands and did nothing because it's not a unified group. It's little pockets of people. Well, these are the people that do this, and these are the people that do this, and they hate the people that do that.
We're kicking butt unifying in Georgia. That's all I have to say.
Well, good. And you know what? It should be that way. I'm unified. There's no product that you make out of hemp that I disagree with. And none of them should be illegal, should they?
Nope.
I mean, you can take it and chemically turn it into something else, I suppose, and that I wouldn't like. All right. But then it's not the same product, is it? But nothing that comes out of that plant should be objectionable to anybody.
But Steve, how do we put Humpty Dumpty back together again?
We start by descheduling. And that's why I'm here and not there. I can do more from here than I can from over there. They don't like me very much over there. George Soros really doesn't like me much over there. I'm the only one who fought his 3 initiatives. Nobody fought him. Nobody fought him in Colorado or Oregon. I was the only one who fought him, and he had to spend an extra $1.5 million. I was happy to find out, because I almost beat him. I almost beat him with $7,000, and he put up, I don't know, 3.5, 4.5, maybe more than that, $1 million. Yeah, it's an interesting day, huh? Things you didn't know about the industry.
Well, I'm just wondering, Steve, if we can identify, like, if there's distractors in different places that we know. Like, what we're doing is we're just like getting really close in Georgia, and we have lots of different organizations. So I think that there's just a natural nature of being, too many cooks in the kitchen or whatever.
Because again, what the problem with all of these organizations are in both cannabis and hemp is everybody running those organizations is all on the take. Well, so you can't trust them.
Can you prove that though?
Yeah.
Like, do you know anyone in Georgia, for example? Like, can we call?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about your situation. Don't get me wrong. I know nothing about that situation. I'm happy to learn about it. If you and other people want to teach me about it, I'm happy to learn. I'm happy to give you my advice on what I would do or what you can do. I'm very good at that.
Well, I just like if there's someone that's being like particularly like divisive or gossipy, like what are some signs that you think that someone might be taken?
Well, you know what? It's very, very difficult. Both NORML and Drug Policy Alliance right now, their stance on all of this is they say they want descheduling. Okay, they say they want descheduling, but if you talk to people who really know them, they really don't want descheduling. what they are doing is they both have websites up where you can go and put in your information in one spot, and then you can do like the letter and another thing, and they're going to get all this to the White House for you. And you think that your email address and the information you gave them is somehow connected to that letter. They're just taking your information and they're voting for rescheduling with it. That's how evil these people are. How do I know? Because George Soros has been paying them for 12 years.
So can you do a public records request to see what your email address was used for?
No, because you can only use public records request. You would use a public records request generally in a state, and it's called FOIA or Freedom of Information Act if you do it federally. But the same thing. So you can get it from government agencies. You can't do that with a person. That you have to do with a subpoena in court. But
what if you just like write to like the organization that you entered your email address with and was like, can you show me proof?
Why don't you know what you should do? Call them up, ask them. Oh, if they hesitate, you know, when somebody's lying to you, they go, oh, I wasn't expecting that one.
Ask them what?
Ask them, go, how about do this? Go, you guys are for rescheduling, aren't you? I mean, and just leave it at that, and they'll go, oh yeah. Just trick them. Pretend like you're a rescheduling fan and see if that's what they're doing. Can I help you reschedule? And if they don't go, oh no, we're for descheduling, I think they've answered your question, right? You don't have to be a major kind of detective to figure that one out then.
Okay, so let's talk about Schedule 3.
Sure.
So is that where psychiatric drugs are?
I would have to see. I'd have to look at the schedules, because if you look at the schedules, and you can go on and look at the schedules, some of these like 3 or 4 pages of different things.
Because I know opiates are on there.
Yeah, and different opiates are on different schedules too. I mean, so I think fentanyl. Last I heard, fentanyl wasn't Schedule 1, and it's the most deadly drug in the world right now.
Well,
but they do use it in hospitals.
Yeah. I mean, I know someone who was on it for pain relief, and yeah.
But you're right. You said the right thing to me. This has to stop, and it has to stop now. And this was the year it was meant to stop. All of these creepy people always do things on a 10-year cycle. They have a 10-year plan. And I slowed Soros down by 5 years, and he wasn't happy about that. So I'm happy about living here and not the U.S. And this is going to be the year where it ended. This is the year where they're going to quit funding all the fake companies. They're going to quit doing all of that. And some of these people know that. The other half that weren't getting money from Soros, they don't know that. They really think that rescheduling is a good thing because they're stupid. They aren't getting the money.
So just to recap.
Yes.
Steve Sarich, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Is live from Thailand right now, and he is revealing what is really going on, which is that a law was never passed to quote unquote legalize it in Thailand. It was just descheduled. And
there's been no cannabis law here, period.
And after the descheduling, the prime minister and the body wrote some rules which allowed.
Well, somebody wrote the rules. Whoever, and I don't know which government organization it is, but yes, a government agency wrote rules for hemp and cannabis stuff.
Price of licensing and whatnot, and so 18,000 licenses were given out.
Yep.
And now they're like, it's too much. We want to bring it down to 2,000 or just forget about this. And
well, they really want to get rid of it, but this was kind of a compromise. We just get it down to 2,000. What that does is you see, you're going to have that 2,000 of those, I guarantee you, are billionaires, right? And you don't want to piss off the billionaires because they sue your ass, right? And you need the billionaires because you need re-election money next year too. So, but the prime minister, her job on behalf of the WEF is to make sure there is no more cannabis and hemp here. And frankly, there's not many people growing hemp here other than the people who have been growing hemp here for a long time. Because everybody lights their hair on fire for marijuana. Whereas actually hemp food is going to be 1,000 times more profitable than cannabis ever was. Cannabis is going to reach the point, and it'd probably be at the point of descheduling, will be really a very, very, very affordable product. And then all the shitty people will go away, all the greedy people, because that profit margin isn't there for them. Okay. You could take a plant that you bought for $15 and you makes a pound that you could get 6,000 for. It used to be, right? Not anymore. When it goes down to you grow that plant and you only get $1 for it later, right? Then those guys aren't interested in cannabis anymore. Most of the people I know in recreational cannabis do not smoke pot at their parties, because I've been to their parties, including ASA. ASA, absolutely cocaine heads. Normal, famous for cocaine, or famous for cocaine. Yeah. None of these people were who they had you thinking they were. And the whole time I knew it because I was involved intimately with what was going on with them. There were good people, but a lot, even some good people sold out in the industry for the money. George Soros has got a lot of money. So recreational, I think, is going to be ending. And it looks like, judging by the stock market thinks so too. If they don't get rescheduling, I don't know what they really think rescheduling is going to do for them. It's not going to let them grow marijuana and sell marijuana the way they are now.
I guess
it's for medicines.
That it's going to make it less of a crime.
No. First offense, up to 10 years. If I grow some pot, okay, I'm in for a 10-year stretch. If I make you some to cure your cancer and you don't get well from it, now you're damaged, and now I get an extra 15 years on that sentence. That's what Schedule 3 does.
Wow.
Second offense, 20 years. $5 million fine. Does that sound good to you? Does that sound in any way better to you?
How'd they rip the opium plant apart and put the opiates in there? Because that's poppy seeds. Like, opium somehow survived with poppy seeds.
Well, poppy, you got to remember what they were doing is they were making opioids out of it, and still do. U.S. was the biggest producer of heroin in the world for forever. That's why we're guarding the poppy fields in Afghanistan. The second we left Afghanistan, it became illegal to grow poppies there.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah. Taliban. No, you're not growing drugs here. We don't do drugs here.
Well,
we had the U.S. military protecting the poppy fields.
Speaking of laws, though, there's really no law that says cannabis is illegal. There's just this drug schedule.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
it says you can't have it.
So I don't understand how it's just one big illusion.
It's all a construct. It's all about control. They can get away they do it as long as they can get away with it.
So do we even need to deschedule it to just unveil the illusion?
Yes, because right now it's still an illegal substance.
Oh, well, because the schedule is law.
Federal, yes, yeah.
So when did the
Controlled by the DEA.
yeah, but is
The
that a
DEA will come. The DEA, yeah, under Schedule 3, the DEA will be one coming out and arresting you if you think that's better for some reason. But
But
there's nothing better. No one ask anybody you know. Call normal when you go to ask them whether they're supporting rescheduling or descheduling. I'll only give them one choice and see what they respond. But ask them. Well, what will I'm a patient? What will that do for me? What effect will it have on me? Ask them, because they're not saying. Have you seen anywhere where they've saying what is good about rescheduling? I haven't seen any place where they could explain it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you know why it's good?
To reschedule?
Yeah.
It just seemed like, okay, we're gonna
Seemed.
It seems like we're gonna lessen the severity.
It seems like we might. No, that is you hoping that it will at least do that. That was your mind that told you that, because it doesn't say that anywhere.
Like Schedule 1 is like the worst it could be.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Schedule 3 is not a lot better. Not as far as penalties and requirements and all the rest of it.
It sounds like you're saying it's worse.
Well, it looks really, 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 really bad. Yes. There is nothing good about it, except let me go back. There is nothing good for cannabis users or patients or hemp people. There's nothing good for the public there. There are some tax things in there and a couple of other weird little things. Okay. Banking things.
Okay.
And that's what they need.
That's what
they need. So this is about banking things.
Yeah.
But this doesn't do us any good. But call them and ask them. Record it. I'd love to hear what they had to say.
Do you think the Controlled Substance Act is criminal?
Well, I don't think the Controlled Substances Act is criminal. They have a very, very particular way of scheduling drugs into a particular schedule. First, what they do, if you are them, what you need to determine is does this belong to in any of the schedules? Does it fit in under any of the qualifications? And if you find that it does belong somewhere, then you need to look at the schedules and determine what are the criterion to be in each of those schedules. And cannabis does not belong in the schedules.
But do you think we need the schedule at all? Do you think it has any?
Not for cannabis. I mean, for other things, does it have a use? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably does.
If you had the power to just completely get rid of the Controlled Substances Act,
I don't know whether that would be a good thing or a bad thing without really studying it more. But I don't think it would be a good thing, really. I mean, so you make heroin legal? I don't know. Is that a good thing? I don't think so.
It's like, what is that?
Again, I don't think those are. I don't even think things like heroin are even a big deal anymore.
But
I don't think heroin's kind of out now. Now it's fentanyl.
I just wonder if
meth.
you write a law saying it's illegal. Why do you need a Controlled Substances Act?
You can. You could do that. And if you deschedule it, that's what you will do. Is you'll write a law and it says you can do this and this and this and this, but you can't do this.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
It makes more sense for every drug to have that instead of a Controlled Substances Act.
Well, that's basically what the controlled substances do. I mean, you could have a Controlled Substances Act. You could have a law that says all heroin is bad. Okay, just like they do now, right? But so you got a whole bunch of those things. You got lists and lists of those things. Do you want to do a law for each of those, or do you just put them all in the same box? Go, all of these fall into this law, right? And that's all they've done. Unfortunately, they put cannabis in there, and cannabis doesn't belong there, and it doesn't belong in 3. It doesn't belong as a scheduled drug. And everything that what we need to be able to do is we need to prove that everything that they've been saying for all this time is absolutely a bold-faced lie. That 0.3% was made up. The 0.0002% is made up. Those are in a court of law, those would be called arbitrary and capricious. In other words, is there a direct relationship between intoxication and that number? What does that number mean? If it doesn't mean anything, it's arbitrary and capricious. They just arbitrarily put it at 0.3%, and they picked it from another study that was about something else. Could it have gotten more bizarre?
It's very strange. If you, Steve, could say 3 things to a legislator or to Trump to convince them that cannabis does not belong on the Substances Act, what would it be? 3 things.
I would show him. I would have a list on top, but I would show him all. I would take all of the studies. Everybody keeps saying, we need another study. No, this is the most studied plant in the world. I would take them.
No, I get so frustrated when they say that.
I'm going to start doing some memes about that because it's still pissing me off. But I would take him all of the studies, all of the types of cancer that it cures, when Big Pharma hasn't cured one kind of cancer, right? And they want to control cannabis, because you'll understand that. He'll understand that, right? Oh, that's why they're doing it, because they don't have those things. So they're keeping you out of the marketplace.
So
that's the way he'll look at it. And he'll understand it that way. And that's fine if that's the way he understands why they are doing it and that it is not good. If he knows that this cures all of this stuff, and he takes these things and he asks RFK Jr., is this right? And RFK Jr. goes, yep. Goes, you want to talk to some other people? Because we have plenty of other doctors to tell you the same thing. And we've got the studies to prove it all. Okay. We've got the studies to prove that it doesn't work as an isolate, that kills people. It is you actually make a cannabis drug that kills little children, and you pass it. You make that a saleable product on the market for little children.
The second convincing point.
Yeah. I got a lot of convincing points. How about the part about them burning down all the hemp crops for the last 5 years and doing that to American farmers? He likes American farmers. He won't like that a bit either.
What is that? That was in Nevada mainly?
No, it was in several states. It was in Kentucky. It was in Nevada. It was in Michigan. I think it was in Wisconsin. There were a bunch of states. I didn't file requests with all of them. I filed requests with 2 or 3 of them just to find out, are they all doing the same thing? And they were all doing the same thing. It's just that I happened to go to Nevada, and Nevada was just absolutely the worst offender of the bunch. But they were all bad. They all broke the law, and they all did it federally illegally. And I can prove it because I have their emails.
So as far as testing it, you were saying it changes level on the field. So would you think if they do need to be tested for THC for the COA and everything, that it should
first, does it need to be tested for THC? For some things it would need to be tested for THC. For other things it wouldn't necessarily be tested. These are why you're going to have very, very rather complex kinds of laws to deal with these things. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, because you're not lumping everything together.
So have you written such a law?
I can write it tomorrow. I argue these things every day. So yes, I could absolutely write that law. I would love to write that law.
Okay.
And it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just right now we don't have we still have the one party system apparently, and we're going to have to kind of fix that. The whole political situation is in the U.S. is untenable. I'm very glad I'm not there. I mean, I would be very, very worried about myself if I was there. Of course, I couldn't afford to live in the U.S. anymore.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's gotten crazy. What do you rent or do you buy? Do you rent where you live?
Either way, it's
No, well, yeah, but so a studio apartment in Seattle right now would cost you between $2,000 and $3,000.
wow.
I have a really nice place in a new building, completely furnished, Wi-Fi, guard, uh, free parking, all of that stuff. I pay $200 a month. Yeah, the
It's
place is clean as can be.
I have a End Atlanta homelessness group on Facebook, and it's like every time I look, there's like 1,000 more people, and almost everyone is homeless. Like the price of living is just insane.
Well, if you listen to Bill Gates and the WEF, they will tell you, and they are not, at least they're not hiding it, that they believe that we have to have 90 to 90% fewer people on the face of the earth. Are you which list do you think you're on?
I don't know. The fact that I haven't been approached by certain people to sell out makes me think I'm special.
Hmm. Or you just aren't reaching enough people.
I wonder if the Georgia Guidestones like disappearing has something to do though with
I still never figured out what that was all about. I had too much other crap on my mind, right?
well, that's what you
Um,
just talked about. It they had like the amount of people that should be on the earth. Like they had like a certain number.
okay. I don't know. I didn't really get into that
And
whole
then they exploded.
conversation.
Maybe they decided more people can live here now.
Well, fortunately, I've never been a big fan of Trump. I haven't voted for him before, but fortunately, I voted for him this time because now what we're seeing unfold and coming out is just. I don't think we've heard a tenth of it yet. I think there's so many things that are so much more awful, just absolutely terrible. But remember, we just spent 5 years going through the largest medical genocide in the history of the world. It killed, used a medicine to kill millions and millions and millions of people, and there's people still dying. If you've had the jab, you better go out. There's stuff you can take for that now. Fortunately, I didn't take it. Fortunately, my best friend of 55 years that I was staying with when I went out to Los Angeles and to Las Vegas, my best friend of 55 years took the jab and died. Just
I'm sorry.
like that. He wouldn't listen to me. He believed the government. If you ever believed the government before, what you're watching right now, every day, should convince you that was believing them was never a good idea.
Sorry. That's so sad.
It is, but it's got to change because if you believe that what they're looking to do is get rid of you by feeding you really terrible food and giving you vegetables that look like good vegetables, but they just don't have any nutrition to them, or if they think you should be eating bugs, or they think you should be eating fake meat, and that's all things that they think. They think you should live in a 15-minute city where you don't travel anywhere. I mean, if people tell you that that's what their plan is, you should believe them because they think they can get away with it. That's why they're telling you, because you can't. They don't think you have power to stop them, right? This is what we're going to do to you. By the way, you'll be broke and you'll be happy. You won't own anything.
Right.
They
Not
said it. They said it with a straight face.
man.
What do you make of that? If it's not exactly what they said, they
Okay, I
actually
have a
believed it.
question about cannabis. We should probably say
Okay.
about cannabis.
Yeah.
But I am falling asleep. It's 12:30 here.
Okay.
But if there's no recreation, how do you see cannabis being sold? Like all in
Well, it will really be It's just it's a licensing thing, but it's not a big deal because it's not an illegal thing. Okay, so the licenses aren't expensive. You don't have to invest a lot of money. Here's why recreational marijuana. This is maybe a better question to be asking me right now. Rec, can recreational marijuana ever survive as it is right now? And the answer to that is clearly no. It won't ever survive the way it is right now. And they knew it would never survive because they're never going to do it unless they can get a lot of taxes out of it, right?
Mm.
Well, and they're going to get a lot of money on licensing fees, right? They're going to tax it in Washington State 45% off the top. No business can survive that way. So what they've done is created an impossible situation for a bunch of greedy, stupid people that don't know how to run a business, or you wouldn't go out and get the damn license because you can't make any money at that. Do you know what? If you have a really successful restaurant, you know what you're likely to be taking home as a profit? What percentage you're going to take home? If you're lucky, 5%. This is the government charging you 45% off the top, and you can't charge off any of your employees or any of your expenses on your taxes. How can you ever think that's going to make any money? Okay, and it didn't.
Did you ever see the documentary I made, Hempdemic 2020?
No.
Okay, I need to send it to you again.
Do.
This is back in like 2018, 2019 testimonies were in the movie, maybe some from 2020. And basically we passed a hemp law, and to get a license to process hemp was like $50,000 the first year and then $25,000 for 5 years after.
Insanity, right? That's what you do to stop an industry, isn't it?
No, wait, it was 25,000 and then 10,000 a year, I think. I don't know. Whatever it was.
Name another crop that charges that much.
I know.
Name another crop where a license costs that much.
I know.
There isn't.
They came back the next year and they raised the price of the processing fee to $50,000 when these people already invested in their businesses. And it was like one processing company supposedly thought this was a good idea for them. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Like, we're going to monopolize it. No one else will be able to afford this.
That's the problem. Okay. The word monopoly. The word monopoly is there's the problem with all cannabis. Everybody wants to be a monopolist.
Then this one woman, she was like, who I interviewed in the movie, she's like, well, I'm just going to go out of business and reopen it because it's cheaper for me. I think it was like 20. It was something ridiculous. Like to renew it, it was more expensive than to start a new business. Somehow.
This is what I mean. This is why it's impossible for you to ever do any of this. If you schedule a product, if you make it, what they're always going to do is they're going to overregulate. They're going to overtax, right? All of these things are going to make that product so expensive that you know what's going to happen. Two things are going to happen. The first thing is this is exactly the way, if you've ever taken an economics class, this is exactly how you create a black market. These are all the things you need to make a black market. High costs, right? Lack of availability, all of these things. And so what's going to happen here, remember we talked about this, there was 18,000 people with licenses and now there are going to be 2. Do you know what those other 16,000 people are going to be doing here in Thailand that spent 3 years learning how to grow weed and invested all of their savings in it? You know what they're going to be doing? They're still going to be growing weed, aren't they? And you know why? And you know what? Here's the really interesting thing. It's just as important.
Kitty Cat says it's time for bed.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep you up. Um,
No, that's okay. I appreciate
but
you
there's
like sharing the truth so
here's the
much.
funny here's the funny thing about the Thai situation.
Okay.
And I have friends, and if they watch this, they may or may not be mad at me. But they're all really really mad at the government right now because of the whole situation, and because they can't afford to make a living at the market value of the product. But you know what? The local farmers can't. They can make money at $1 a gram because they're just making about $100 a month. So they're making money at $100 a gram. So that's eventually where your whole cannabis industry goes to. It's the lowest denominator. When I've got 300 acres of flower and I'm mowing it down with a John Deere and I'm processing it. Okay. And then it's $5 a gram or $3 a gram or $2 a gram. That's that kind of area. That's where it's going to be. But because if you overtax it, if you overtax and you overregulate, you're going to get what you've got now, which is everybody going broke, and you've got a black market to boot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's pretty much the way it's got to go. You're never going to have a recreational market because the government's never going to stop overtaxing and overregulating. Because what do they get out of it otherwise?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the money comes from.
That's all right.
And they listen to all the bad people because the bad people got the money. And they can pay them contributions. Yeah, that's right. Not bribes. Almost got confused. Look, I'll let you go to bed. We should update this when something happens here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
And if you do get people down there that want somebody who understands the law, okay, really understands cannabis law, have them contact me. I won't charge them anything or anything like that, and I'm happy to talk to them. We can do a video call, whatever. I'd like to understand the situation there.
Yeah, you can look up SB 494. That's the law that they passed. I mean, and raising the processing fee, that seems more than just unfair. Also, a lot of people went out of business.
Yeah, and they don't care. And something you just really need to understand about politicians is I know 3 honest ones after 57 years of doing this.
Yeah, I know. I know just a few of them too.
They quit. They quit because they can't stand to work with those people. I worked in the Washington State Legislature as a registered lobbyist, and then the people on both sides, both the Republicans and the Democrats, are all assholes. They're all worthless. You know, you got that one guy or the 2 guys, 2 people that are really really nice people, and they're only sticking around 1 term because they can't stand dealing with this crap.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people who wanted me to run for office at one point. And I can't imagine anything I'd rather do less.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be around lies all the time.
Everything is a lie. And you know what? I stopped lying a long, long time. I don't lie about anything because I talk to too many people in a day, and I wouldn't remember what I told them if I was starting lying, right? Not only that, but now you got the internet. And if you're a liar, the internet figures that out pretty quick.
And
it saves it.
Tiger Lily does too. Like, she likes listening to your voice. She's not always like this. Like, sometimes when I'm teaching classes, like, she'll meow the whole time. And, you know, cats are night creatures, so she's not always tired at night. So she
I thought she was I thought she smelled the smoke or something.
When you were like talking, she was back there sleeping the whole time and like just so chill. And then now she loves just sitting here on my lap. She's purring, listening to your voice. So I think cats know when there's truth and when there's lies. You know, they're pure animal spirits here. So anyway,
Well, I don't lie, cheat, or steal. I don't. And something, another weird habit I got into.
Happy listening to you right now.
Habit I got into. I don't want to come and visit your garden either, because if you perchance get raided in the next 3-4 weeks or whatever, I'm on that list now of people. I wonder if he's really right. So I refused to go to people's houses. And sure enough, because all my friends got busted at one time or another, but they couldn't blame me. I'm so tired. I'm so glad that the number one thing for someone like me who has been raided by more drug task forces than anyone in the history of Washington State and never been arrested. The one thing I can appreciate that maybe you wouldn't, there's no policing for profit here. There's no police cars to pull you over. There are some signs that are kind of people take as suggestions, lines in the road, suggestions. Matter of fact, going the wrong way. That sign was a suggestion. It is not unusual to have someone coming the wrong way on a motorbike towards you. Okay?
Scary.
It's really not. It's really not, because it'd be in a small space and it's safe. And you never have to worry about. But you never get a ticket. You never get a ticket here. Police never go, oh, I smell pot. Right? I don't have to go through any of that. I didn't even have a US driver's license anymore. I don't want one. You need to come visit here. You really need to come visit.
I know.
Come visit us.
Yeah, we need to plan that.
Yeah.
Off camera.
Yeah, well, preferably off camera.
But thank you so much, Steve.
Unless you want to do a junket, then we could probably do that. Anyway.
I don't know I don't even know what that means.
Oh, unless you want to bring a whole group of people over, right?
Oh yeah, I want to bring the band. I want to do a tour in Thailand.
Oh, that's not no. Oh, you can bring the band. Yeah. But there's it's so different. I mean, I'm up north and I love it up north, but but I used to live in Hawaii for 14 years and they have better beaches than they do in Hawaii here. It is just okay. So I think prices may have gone up during COVID, but I could at one point, because I checked on it, I was going to go down to the beach with my girlfriend and get a little cottage right literally on the beach. And it would have cost me between $5 and $10 a night.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just to close, do you think it was exaggerated in the news how much it smells like weed in Thailand?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm in Chiang Mai, but they were saying, but people were reporting that it smelled like weed here too, and I didn't. I go out. I make a point because I'll be 75 in January, and I go everywhere on my motorcycle, and so I make a point of going out and doing shopping and all that stuff on the motorcycle every day because the weather is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful here, and it keeps me in good shape. By the way, you'll definitely do you know how to ride a motorcycle at all? Motorbike? Practice. Oh no, practice, because there's all kinds of places you want to go, and if there's like a lot of traffic, you don't care if you're on a motorbike because you go in between the cars, all around the cars. You go right to the head of the line. You never wait for the red lights. It's wonderful.
Man.
And do you like seafood?
Yeah.
Oh, seafood here is cheap too. Oh, they have all kinds of seafood.
Well, let's to be continued. I'm falling asleep on myself. Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, go. And I will keep in touch with you and let me know if you've got. I will look up at that law, but not unless somebody contacts me and it's like I'm actually going to do something with it. Otherwise, it just takes time I don't need. But have them call me or have them email me or contact me on Facebook.
I make an outstanding agreement to honor and respect cannabis as a plant for food, free to be planted, harvested, and processed by all.
Amen.
I break any past contracts, known or unbeknownst to me, that has taken away my freedom and security.
Okay.
See you next time.
All right. You take care.
Night, night.
Night night.